I'd like to welcome to the More Perfect Interview Mr. James Swenson, who is the current county chair of the Republican Party of Barron County. He was elected a few years ago to fill in the remainder of now Senator Romaine Quinn's term when he resigned in order, I believe, to run for the state Senate. And he was just recently reelected in last spring's caucus. So he's a two-termer county chairman. He has a bold, brash style, and apparently he has rubbed some people the wrong way. And what we're going to do today is talk about some recent troubles that have kind of thrown a lot of drama in Barron County. But it's not just Barron County that's involved. There have been other instances in other counties where it seems like if you're pushing the wrong kind of conservative message, that you possibly might make yourself a target. We're going to welcome Jim to the interview, and we're going to dig into it a little bit and see what's going on, where the current status of things is. Jim, welcome to the interview.
Hi, Mike. How are you today?
Good. I said we had a little bit of weather. Apparently, there was a shindig that was going to take place in the Dells today, but that got kind of canceled off at the last minute. Give us some background on what's going on and what is the impact for Barron County.
Well, how far back would you like me to go?
Well, I think if we go back to last spring, right, there was some you had sought to run for a district chairman position for District 7. Is that correct?
Well, that was after my county caucus had unanimously reelected me as the Barron County chairman without any challenge. Okay.
Okay.
Then when we went to the district caucus, I was nominated by a state senator from east of us who made the nomination. We had an election. I did not win that election, but it was by a very small margin, 10%, which is in our neighborhood that day about 18 votes across 26 counties. So
that's pretty close.
For some reason, yeah, we did not campaign for it. It was secret. So all of a sudden, instead of being welcomed as a challenger, we were perceived to be a threat.
And why do you think that people consider that a threat?
Well, I guess in my heart, this goes back to define that. I would have to take you back to Ronald Reagan's 11th commandment that said virtually, thou shalt not speak badly about another Republican. Okay. When he said those things, he was talking about on the campaign stage. Okay. After his administration vacated the White House, the Bush administration sort of turned that same definition into thou shalt not run against an incumbent Republican. Now, I've never agreed with that philosophy. Today, our Republican Party within Wisconsin and a lot of our representatives, even at the federal level, really do truly believe that. They say do not ever challenge a sitting Republican. And I'm more of the person where, if somebody's not doing the job or not, well, let's just say a crook can come in all colors. And if we're not allowed to call somebody out for not doing their job, that does more harm. And I think that's sort of where we've seen the party turn into nationally over a lot of years, decades at this point. So, yeah, if your own party doesn't want anybody challenging anything, then why have any involvement at all? And as you well know, without involvement, there's nothing to be gained, nothing to be, it just is what it is.
So to me, it sounds like there's really a couple of issues at play here. The challenging the status quo, and obviously, I think the District 7 representation has a lot of support from Congressman Tiffany. Um, and
Well, it is his district.
correct, but
Yeah.
kind of the play there. The kind of if I think I recall the story, I wasn't actually at District 7 caucus because I'm not part of that district. um, the the way that I guess Congressman Tiffany, he made kind of a play for the existing leadership of the District 7. Do you think that some of what's going on now, because it seems like you were targeted first and they tried to target you a couple of times, the state or Senator Quinn or other members of the county party were coming after you. Do you feel like that was retribution for what you did, that you kind of deigned to challenge the District 7 leadership?
You know what? Uh, I don't have that crystal ball. Um, if it is, shame on them. I've never had anybody come out and say, "Well, this is what you're getting. Here's your medicine." Okay, and I don't think anybody would be that dumb to ever say that. Um,
Yeah,
it,
politics is a little more subtle than
well,
that.
it is,
Right?
and you know, we've always promoted our candidates um, in Barron County. You know, this really got turned up a level in about March and April at the caucus with a bunch of emotional rhetoric at our election. Uh, then we had a couple police officers up here in Barron County killed. Um, it just kept escalating. Um, Senator Quinn kept challenging the executive committee, the chairman, by tagging our Facebook posts and posting things on county patriot sites. Um, so the executive committee, we had a couple discussions with him and said, knock it off. We're all on the same team here, and he wouldn't knock it off.
So
So
what was his particular problem? With I think one of the allegations that I think he brought before the state party was that you failed, or the executive board failed, to issue a public statement following the murder of the two deputies.
yes, we did not put a public statement on our Facebook page. The executive committee made that decision. We always drive the ship with the majority vote.
Right.
Okay. Even though I'm holding the wheel. Okay. So yeah, that was one of his complaints that was getting broadcast all over.
And what was the logic or reasoning? I kind of remember
his or ours.
Yeah, well, his reasoning, or actually, let me take that back.
Well,
No, what was the reasoning of the executive board, and why did he have a problem? Did he understand the reasoning, or he just thought that you should do it anyway?
Well, once again, this was just a continuation of emotional decisions that he makes. Okay. They did All the officers that were elected in the March caucus ran unchallenged. Okay, we used a nominating committee. There's a procedure outlined in Robert's Rules of Order on how to do this. Okay, so they all went unchallenged and were all elected by acclamation. Okay, where the crowd went, yay, not a nay in the crowd.
Okay.
The second process to that is the chairman then nominates the at-large positions. We went one position at a time, which is exactly how it's a choice that's allowed. And I think he was trying to hope to stack the executive committee against me, like the one that I took over. wasn't that they were against me, but they were looking out for Senator Quinn, for his financial interest and for his benefit rather than the benefit of the party.
When you say financial interest, what do you mean?
Well, example, before Romaine resigned to do this Senate run, one of the last things he did was step out of character at an executive committee meeting and made a motion to give himself $5,000. Okay, and somebody else in the room said, "Well, give him 10." And I'm like, "Are you people out of your mind? You know, this is money that we earned mainly through the rallies that I designed. I think you've been at one of my Second Amendment rallies.
Yes, well attended.
We had a pretty good sized bank account at the time. The whole point of all that was more of a promoting the local candidates with money and things. So once again, a motion was made. There was a second. Romaine Quinn got a check for $5,000. Okay, now this is
Let me ask you.
This is the end of 2020, I believe. No.
21.
Scratch that. Yeah, it was just prior to the last election that he ran in. So, and then, he ended up resigning once the paperwork and the time to announce came by, and we were just coming up on our Second Amendment rally that year, so it would have been just prior to June, and the old executive committee made another motion to give him another $5,000. And we didn't even have it in our checkbook, but they knew I had outside donors sending money to support the Second Amendment rally. So they knew money was coming in. They voted money that we didn't have, and I said, "We don't have the money." They said, "We don't care. We voted it. You will do it," which is the rule of the game. Okay.
Well, before we go any further with this,
yeah.
I want to understand something you said. As a member of the executive board, now Senator Quinn, not an unannounced candidate at the time for state senate, he made a motion directly to benefit himself.
Absolutely.
And is that, now obviously the motion passed, but is that ethical?
Well, that's ethics is with the beholder. Is it allowed?
Well, I don't know.
Absolutely. I mean, I can create motions as a chairman. The rule of thumb is you step out of character, inform the vice chairman that you are now running the meeting.
Correct.
Therefore, the motion gets, that's the proper way. Like I said, ethics is, well, that's challenged every day in the world, isn't it?
Yeah, but to me, it feels, I don't know, it feels kind of Tammany Hall-esque.
Well, I mean, technically, it's allowed. What he did was allowed. What's the difference if before the meeting he's had one of the executive committee members make the motion? Same result. Okay.
Did he vote on the motion?
No, he did not.
Okay, well, at least there's that.
He's allowed. He's allowed to.
Yeah. To me, it feels like it's kind of schmarmy. And my personal opinion on that is if it's done, if it's generally looked on with some favor, I think there's an opportunity to improve. From an ethical perspective, I don't think people should be nominating themselves for money, nor should they participate in any discussion associated with it, right? If somebody wants to nominate or make a motion to support a candidate, I guess that's where it falls in the legitimacy area, but he wasn't an announced candidate. So why were they money?
Well, he had just announced that he was going to run.
Okay.
Well, in the room, in the executive committee body. Yeah.
And it could just be me, overthinking it or whatever, but I just I don't like that.
Perception is perception.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm looking at, right? We're trying to make sure that we are a party that is above board. And it just, I don't know, it doesn't set well with me. I'm not going to hash it out. That's your politics. That's your rules.
So to get back on track of this whole thing,
yeah,
that was probably the first thorn that came between us.
It was the second 5,000.
Well, was the first 5,000, and then the second 5,000 when I was the elected chairman. We were caught in a short quorum. We had a quorum, so they could do that.
Right.
And
for the viewers' benefit, a short quorum is what?
Well, my executive committee's 9 members.
Okay. So you had 5.
You need to have 5 minimum
to
have a quorum by our Constitution.
Okay.
So we had 5, and it passed. So, like I said, my view for the party was different. My view for the party was growing membership. My view for the party was doing fundraising so we could get campaign finance monies available locally, in which we did. I mean, we grew the party to the point of 2023 ended with 347 members. Okay, that's pretty big Republican Party anywhere in Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's pretty good size.
Yeah,
I'm still trying to figure out how many members are in Pierce County. It's a little harder to get info.
Yeah, imagine that.
I'm also a new member, so I must confess that I'm not fully aware of all the nuance of things, and as I have learned, I guess over the course of the last year and a half, I've been working with you and some other members, St. Croix County, most notably. And I have begun to understand some of the complexities and nuance of county party politics. And it's kind of interesting, but it's also kind of frustrating because, and I think this is it might be tangentially related to what's going on with you in Barron County, but I see this kind of push-pull kind of, it's not quite a schism yet, but it feels like there are definitely opposing parties within the state party, and it works its way all the way down to the county. And
absolutely.
And I think it gets back to something that you mentioned, at the head, which is I think the GOP, particularly since George W. Bush, has become this compassionate conservative rollover at the first sign of resistance. And the Democratic Party has taken every bit of ground that the Republican Party will cede to them, and we haven't seemed to figure out as a pure collective group, as the body politic of conservative politics in this country, we haven't figured out that the only way that you can push back is to actually push back. And I think the rise of Donald Trump is the rise of the Tea Party in 2010 is a good example of this, right? People were just fed up. The grassroots became fed up. And as a result, there was a wave election. I mean, even Barack Obama said he got shellacked, right? And the same thing happened in 2016 after 8 years of Obama and his policies and Hillary Clinton and Libya and everything else. People wanted somebody who would just come in, who was not afraid to tell them what needed to be said, and was unafraid because he wasn't beholden to anybody, to a donor class or whatever. He wasn't afraid to go ahead and do it. And that upset the establishment. And I think where we are now, and I'll get your opinion on this, but I think where we are right now is the establishment. It's not Democrat or Republican. It's establishment versus grassroots. And I'd like your thoughts on how this kerfuffle between you and Romaine Quinn, how that led to, the events that I guess transpired last year.
Well, we're getting 50 topics to try and get back to one. Okay. First of all, schism doesn't even touch it. I prefer a word chasm. There is a huge divide in the Republican Party. Okay. Now there's not really very well defined terms. Okay. There's establishment. Some say the other side is patriot. I personally don't like that definition for a number of reasons. But there's another name for that same side referred to as populist, which people love their country. People love their Constitution. People want the freedoms for their children that they had as children. Okay, so that's the split. I really believe that split started once again, not with George W. It started with H.W., his father. Okay. You need to remember way back to the Reagan administration where he invited what they called the Blue Dog Democrats into the tent. Okay. Well, how many generations do we need to go back to see where the Democrat organization clicks? Okay. They outmaneuver, they outfunction, they outcommunicate the Republicans, just about everyone you can imagine throughout history. So I think in my own mind that the Blue Dogs pretty much took over the Republican Party during the GW or the HW Bush era. And you can look back at world events, American events, all the way back there and still see this split. Okay. So currently, that brings us to modern day, where, well, let's use Wisconsin. My goodness, we live here. Modern day, we have the speaker, Mr. Voss. He sits on a definite side. I think he's more powerful than Tony Evers, the governor. I really do, because he controls the purse strings. He controls the floor, and he definitely represents one of these two sides. If you challenge Robin Voss, you lose. Okay, he's removed people's staff over the last few years. He controls their campaign funding. Sometimes I think this is way too powerful a position, but it is what it is. So Senator Quinn, he was a 3-term assemblyman, so for 6 years, and Romaine's done some really neat stuff. I've always said he's an intelligent young man, but Robin Voss took him under his wing and taught him Robin Voss style politics.
If you could define Robin Voss style politics, how would you characterize that?
Well, out of these words that we've used today, Robin Voss will tell you that he was a Tea Party member, but he supports the establishment side of politics. Okay, or oh my goodness, what the globalist agenda, I guess, is how I see him as a legislator.
So there was a move that was just to touch a little bit further on Robin Voss and his style. There was a motion brought forward to I believe impeach Megan Wolf, who is the WEC chairman.
Yeah, that was just lately. Yep.
Um, and I heard people in different counties in Pierce County, a couple of people said, well, we don't have the 2/3 majority to be able to
Mike,
convict, right? Because they lack two senators. And I'm saying, well,
this is mimic. What you just said is mimic behavior. Okay, the same thing happened when we were looking at the last presidential election. The legislature had the authority to convene a session to determine what to do. They refused to, and Robin Voss put out the talking points that we don't have the ability, and I'm paraphrasing. Okay, we're not allowed to, and the mimics about the state who are in the assembly mimic the point, right down to like your county chairman down there. She mimics the same thing. She's never met me, by the way, but she sure has a big opinion about me.
yeah, I think I think there was a post or something on Twitter, I guess X, and I think I replied to, and I don't know her very well, and I think she means well. She's definitely busy, but I think she holds a lot of information close to the vest. Um, and
Well,
I don't think she knew this, but we got into a back and forth on Twitter where
yeah.
she essentially accused you of breaking the law, blah, 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 blah.
Well, that was actually her third district chairman that said the reason they're removing Jim Swenson is because he broke the law. Okay,
Yeah.
so
But they didn't state what law.
well, there is no law. Okay,
That's
what
kind
am
of
I
my
a
point.
what am I a felon now? What a lot of these people don't understand is I'm the guy who helped kick down borders of these counties so we can start functioning as a team. Um, People like Matt Bachland and I, when he was the chairman at St. Croix, we worked together to update technology to make uh, messaging and websites and communication and creating membership a lot easier than it was. And some of these people actually detest it for us. Okay, they don't like the idea that we're trying to better the situation. Okay, why? I don't know. Maybe they want to protect their little counties, and it's right back to my article on the Trojan horse. This is about delegate control with county parties. So the fewer members you got, the more control you have. Some of the charges that the RPW has levied on me is that, well, we stopped having regular scheduled meetings. Well, we're only allowed to, or we're only required to have one. Okay, one a year. I was the guy that turned it up and did one a month for a long time to increase interaction. You know, your county chairman down there, she, to my understanding, and it's her own business, but she shut down the meeting process and the membership growth all on her own. The same thing is happening in counties like Portage County. They're shutting down their meetings and controlling the membership growth.
Yeah,
Now,
well, I want to clarify one thing. So
yeah,
Pierce County, um, I inquired about meetings and stuff like that, and I
yeah,
was told by Stephanie that they're the third Thursday of each month. Now, the third Thursday was I think I was actually out of town, so I wasn't there. I
sure.
don't know if there was a meeting in December, and we're coming up on the third Thursday of this month, so we'll see. But
Once again,
she's announced, but it's not on the website, right?
once again, I don't go police other counties.
Sure,
They can do what they want.
understand.
They have a district chairman that's supposed to police that, but they seem to be awfully busy chasing me around. Um, and the point I was trying to make, Mike, is I've made a lot of contacts in the years that I've been involved in the Republican Party. I get calls from all over the state of people going, "How did you do this?" or "How do you do this?" or "Do you know how to do this?" Okay, so when things like this travel around the state, that Jim Swenson broke the law, I get calls from people that I haven't seen for a couple of years, maybe, that go, we met at such and such, and I know your style, and I just question that what we were told. And I thank them for their call. And they're the ones that say these other counties are not fulfilling the obligations that RPW is crucifying me for.
Folks, that was an interesting part one of our multi-part series with Jim Swenson, the embattled GOP chairman from Barron County. Please like, follow, and subscribe on our Rumble or YouTube channels, as well as our other social media channels for part 2 tomorrow, as well as other important election information for Wisconsin and the nation at large. Thank you for watching, and thanks for your support.